The film begins in Rivet Town, a place where two contently married blue-collar robots are thrilled to have the opportunity to construct their very own offspring. Everything in Rivet Town is a robot and is alive. In this town, baby robots come in kits that must be assembled from scratch, a task that requires many hours of meticulous work. Nevertheless, the Copperbottoms, who enjoy the process of creating their baby, find the effort to be a labor of love. Eventually, after a joyous 12 hours of assembly, their baby robot, Rodney Copperbottom, is brought to life. As Rodney ages, he is constructed using hand-me-down parts. During his younger years, he relies on training wheels to learn how to walk. At one point during high school, Rodney endures an awkward phase where his torso belonged to a teenage girl cousin. Despite these challenges, Rodney aspires to become an inventor and improve the lives of his loved ones. He finds inspiration in Big Weld, a great inventor and businessman who encourages the citizens of Robotland to generate ideas to tackle issues. Big Weld welcomes new concepts at his corporation, Big Weld Industries, and his motto is, "See a need, fill a need." He believes that one's potential is not determined by their material makeup, and his positive attitude earns him the admiration of others. Rodney invents a small robot dishwasher to help his dad with work. Rodney's dad works as a dishwasher at Gunk's Greasy Spoon, and they use the invention to wash all the plates very quickly, much to the surprise of the other workers. They get into trouble due to the invention panicking and flying around the place, destroying everything when the boss walks in. As a result, his dad is obligated to compensate for the damages incurred, but unfortunately, the family is unable to afford it. Rodney, a determined and optimistic individual, sets his sights on traveling to Robot City, a hub of technological innovation and progress. Driven by his passion for invention and his belief that he can make a difference in the world, Rodney is confident that if he can gain an audience with Big Weld, the legendary inventor and leader of the city, he will be given the opportunity to use his talents to benefit all robots. Fortunately for Rodney, he has a supportive and loving father, Mr. Copperbottom, who has always encouraged him to dream big and reach for the stars. Drawing on the wisdom and guidance of his father, Rodney takes a leap of faith and embarks on his journey to Robot City. As Rodney steps into the magnificent city of robots, Robot City, his heart swells with ambition and aspirations. He meets a guy named Fender who tries to sell him pictures of himself. Rodney quickly realizes that the city is very busy and everyone has somewhere to go and something to do. After getting the directions to meet Big Weld, he goes into a complex but accurate transport system. When Rodney arrives at Big Weld Industries, he is told at the gate by Tim the gate guard that they no longer hire new inventors. He decides to use his new invention Wonderbot to fly him up to the top of the building so he can see the boss. He crashes a board meeting where Ratchet, the new boss of Big Weld Industries, is showing the employees his new plan to increase profitability. The plan includes making only new parts, so the robots using old parts will feel bad and upgrade to the new parts. He also changes the slogan to, "Why be you when you can be new?" Cappy, a corporate robot, does not agree with his plans and is also suspicious about Big Weld's whereabouts. Ratchet is not fond of Rodney and his new invention, so he kicks both of them out. We then meet Ratchet's mom, Gasket, who is working in a factory called the Chop Shop to turn scrap metal into brand new parts. She also tries to convince him to get rid of Big Weld, who is being held captive, permanently to ensure their plan for no old scrap parts goes smoothly. He agrees so that he doesn't end up like his father, who is tied up in the factory. Rodney meets Fender again, a zany robot whose wires may not be fully connected, but whose heart is in the right place. Fender tries to steal Rodney's foot, but while they tussle for it, his head gets disconnected from his body. Fender and his friends, including his sister Piper, try to fix him, but they need a spare part to reconnect his head to his body. They soon learn that the spare parts Fender needs are no longer in stock, and they would need to upgrade to a brand new part. Rodney sees them and says he can fix Fender. Fender introduces Rodney to his group of quirky friends, and they welcome him with open arms. After a long day of exploring the city, Fender suggests they visit Aunt Fanny's place, a well-known safe haven for newcomers. Aunt Fanny is a warm and friendly robot who is always happy to welcome new faces. The group jokingly teases her, making puns about her rear end and remarking that she's a real artist. Fender shares his room with Rodney, who is disappointed with how the day went. Fender cheers him up by telling him that tomorrow is going to be the same. The next day, Rodney is disappointed to find that the other robots are doing nothing to try and find Big Weld when they notice a protest outside the window. The robots that use scrap parts, also called out modes, are protesting the lack of replacement scrap parts and the high prices for the new parts. Rodney is recognized as the guy who fixed Fender, and he is surrounded by out modes who want to be fixed. He decides to help help them and fix them up. His little operation turns big, and soon he is fixing everyone. This catches the attention of Gasket, who encourages her son to crush whoever is fixing the outmodes. Rodney admits he cannot fix all the outmodes without the correct parts, and says he needs to find Big Weld. They decide to go to the Big Weld ball to meet him there, as he always attends it. Rodney, Fender, and Wonderbot infiltrate the ball under the disguise of high-class robots in order to get an opportunity to meet him. Ratchet goes to the stage to announce that Big Weld cannot make it. This infuriates Rodney, and he goes on a rant, eventually revealing that he is the one fixing the outmodes. Ratchet tells his security to escort Rodney out. Cappy steps in, and in an attempt to save Rodney from the guards, say that she will escort him out. Cappy and Rodney escape together, and she tells him that she is taking him to the train station to send him away from the city. He convinces her to take him to Big Weld. Fender, while heading home, is captured by the sweeper, who will take him to the chop shop to be scrapped. Rodney, Cappy, and Wonderbot arrive at Big Weld's house to look for him. Rodney accidentally sets off an elaborate domino toppling effect, which results in a big wave of dominoes and Big Weld surfing it. Rhodey is excited to see Big Weld and tries to show him his invention, but Wonderbot cracks under pressure, resulting in Big Weld telling Rodney to give up. Rodney tells Big Weld what is happening out in the city, but Big Weld is not interested. They leave Big Weld, disappointed. We cut back to Fender, who is at the chop shop about to be scrapped. While he is fighting to escape, Ratchet shows his new sweeper, which he will use to round up all the outmodes, to his mother. Fader escapes and runs to the train station, where he meets his friends, including Rodney and Cappy. He tells them Ratchet's plan, and they all try to run away from the city, but Rodney stops them and tells them they must stop Ratchet. Big Weld appears and says he wants to join the fight against Ratchet. The next day, Big Weld turns up at Big Weld Industries to fire Ratchet and get back his company. While in the office with Ratchet, he slaps the phone on Big Weld's head, which messes up his brain, or circuit. Security then comes and tries to escort Big Weld, Cappy, and Rodney out of the building, but they escape. While being chased around on top of a free-running Big Weld by security, Rodney attempts to fix his head so he can think properly. He eventually manages to fix him. The duo gets captured by a bike-looking vehicle with an electromagnetic crane that is being driven by Cappy. Another one comes by being driven by Ratchet, and the pair get caught between the two. Fender and his friends come to the scene in Big Weld's limo in an attempt to help him and Rodney, but they too get caught. Ratchet leads them to the chop shop, and in the chaos, Big Weld rolls into the chop shop. The others give up hope, believing he is long gone, but Rodney tells them that they will have to upgrade. After the upgrade, they step in to save Big Weld by stopping the machine that would throw him in the furnace, only to be outnumbered by Gasket's robot army. They prepare for their eventual demise when Piper turns up with a whole army of outmodes. The two sides start fighting each other in an epic showdown. Gasket decides to use the distraction as a way to ensure Big Weld's demise and restarts the machine to have him thrown in the furnace. Rodney intervenes in an attempt to save him, while Wonderbot fights Gasket and throws her into the furnace. To stop the brand new sweepers, Rodney and Big Weld swing on a massive saw and hit them over like the domino effect. Ratchet, who was on one of the new sweepers, gets thrown and trapped in chains and is hanging beside his father. His upgrades also fall off, revealing that he is an outmode. Rodney and Big Weld go back to Rivet Town so Big Weld can say, in person and in front of Rodney's parents, that Rodney is now his right-hand man and eventual successor. Rodney's parents are proud, and as a thank you, Rodney gives his father a trumpet so he can finally bring out the inner musician in him. The robots come together to play music and dance. Rodney dances with Cappy, and Big Weld with Aunt Fanny. Wonderbot kicks Tim the gate guard out of the event as a sort of revenge for what he did to Rodney.